Okay, is it even recording? I don't know. Yeah, it is. Well, let's get cracking. Get cracking. Release the Kraken! Fuck, okay, alright. Hey everyone. Been trying to record this video for the last few days, but hasn't been going well. Just very shoddy equipment. Anyway, hello everyone again. My name is Johnston Blackhorse, the one and only, and believe me, I did a Google search and I think I am the only one. So yeah, hopefully a lot of you guys have been reading the comic strips, so you might be up to date as to what's been going on. But I haven't been able to update recently for the past few weeks because I've just been really swamped with commissions. And by the way, thank you guys who got commissions for me, and thanks to all the people who have donated to me. It's been a lot of help. It's helped me pay rent, utilities, allowed me to eat food. So that's been it's been really helpful, and just thank you guys so much for that. And also thanks for the moral support from all the fans that I have out there. And yeah, I didn't think not many people would care, so thanks for that as well. It's been really awesome to hear from a lot of you. So I guess another reason I'm making this video is so I can fill in the gap between from where the comic strip ended to present day. I still plan to continue making comic strips, but as my self-surrender date is pretty much in the next couple of days, there is no way I have the time to illustrate the events that have happened thus far. So just making this video to try to do a quick rundown or recap. So in the future I plan to draw them all out and have them all there for your amusement and your entertainment, and just to have like a little cautionary tale of what's been going on with me, and to kind of like reach out to other people out there that might be in my situation, and to let them know that they're not alone. And you know, just it can be pretty stressful if all around you think or believe that no one understands you, but trust me, there are people out there that are willing to listen and willing to hear you out, and they won't judge you harshly for it, you know. So yeah, this video is like in a way to help me cope with things that have happened, and to reach out and like help other people that are somewhat in the same or similar situation that I am in. Well, I guess again, I am Johnston Blackhorse. I'm a very talented animator working here in the city of Las Vegas. A few things I've worked on. I animated a few, actually a handful of moves for 2 characters in the downloadable fighting game Skullgirls. I also animated a few shots for the animated TV show Ugly Americans for 1 episode, and I also animated some very short segments in a musical concert that toured across America recently. I think that was toured worldwide. Shoot, I don't remember, but yeah, someday I'll try to gather all these like files up and post them on my blogs to show off my animation skills. Thank you very much. But for the most part, for the past 10 years, I have been animating animating and designing video slot machines for a couple of companies here in Las Vegas. So aside from being Johnston Blackhorse the animator, I am also the furry artist known as Beehawk, the pornographic Rule 34 artist known as Rule 34 Rocks. That's Rule 34 ROX. And I am also the former lowly artist known as Natus_01, which I'm glad to say that I'll be coming out of retirement. Well, I sort of already came out of retirement, but I'll have to go back on another hiatus, as some of you might know, for a few years. But once I get out, I hope to come back and just keep drawing all these forms of art, because you know what, I'm just good at it, and I enjoy doing it because I am good at it. So once I get this whole other thing taken care of and put behind me, I just want to just continue making art, be it furry, lowly, Rule 34, or just animating again for whatever comes my way, be it video games, TV shows, or any sort of like maybe short animations once I have those opportunities. So I guess a lot of you are wondering what happened to all these artists. A lot of you who are fans of these online artists just saw these artists just kind of disappear without a trace, not knowing what happened. Artists are fans of myself, fans of B-Hawk, fans of Rule 34 Rocks, and fans of Natus. Just noticed that one day they just all kind of disappeared off the face of the planet, it seemed. But just to let all of you know what's going on and what had happened, I guess there's no pretty way of putting it, but I had been arrested for downloading real child pornography, and yes, it was a big mistake, and yes, it wasn't the smartest thing I've ever done, and it certainly wasn't the soberest. And I admit that I was a pretty bad alcoholic a few years ago, going through a lot of stressful things at the time, and I was in a really dark place mentally. But I've come back from that darkness, that deep depression I was in, and I'm just gonna keep moving toward the future and try to put these whole past events behind me. But yeah, I'm just gonna try to keep a positive attitude about the whole thing and keep on keeping on. So the events that had led up to me downloading illegal content was, well, in the past, yes, I have drawn lowly art as Natus_01, and what that entails is that I drew very lewd and explicit images of underage female characters, and but it was all fictional. Everything I drew as Natus_01 was all purely fantasy. Either it was straight out of my head from my own imaginings, or the drawings were pornographic parodies of existing characters. And never have I once, with my Natus_01 art, used any real reference whatsoever, be them photographic portraits or real images of any sort, to produce my art as Natus_01. All the lowly art I made was purely fictional and fantasy. And in the past, I did fully and heartily, wholly believe that it was okay, that there was nothing wrong with it, just because it was just pencil on paper, and that was it. There were no victims involved, and there was no one hurt by me drawing these images and or animating this material. And that was a solid belief of mine, and that but a few years ago that belief was corrupted and altered by someone who was very close to me, and that person was a girl who would become my girlfriend and then later my ex. I had met her during my college years, and throughout the years we kept up a correspondence on and off for a while, and then that got deeper, and we began to express our views of art and animations, and sharing our dreams and our goals for the future, because she was an artist as well, and she had desires to become an animator, and we both had a shared dream of making an animation studio. But during our talks, the subject of lolicon being a Japanese drawn pornography of underage female characters, we got on the subject of lolicon and loli art, and she had convinced me that lolicon and loli art was just as bad and just as illegal as real child pornography, and loli artists themselves would be arrested and put in jail and imprisoned. And I believed her, so I retired my natus_01 name and put away my loli art and stopped viewing lolicon, and began my relationship with this girl. But I never told her that I was a loli artist, and that would become my first and biggest mistake in that whole relationship. But at the time, I didn't think it was necessary to tell her I was a loli artist, because I just never thought I'd go back, because I loved her and never thought I'd need anything else but her. As the relationship began, it was challenging, but I thought that's how relationships were. But as it continued, it never got any easier. In retrospect, now that so many years have passed, it feels like I'm on the outside looking in, and the whole hindsight thing. I see now how miserable I was, but when I was in the thick of it, I couldn't see it for myself. I just really wanted to make that relationship work. Yes, it was my first one, but I thought she was the one for me. And well, I've always wanted a girlfriend who was also an artist, and she was the only female artist I got to know on a personal level. So I jumped at the opportunity, and we were in a relationship. And we continued this relationship, but years on down the line, she started becoming verbally abusive, and she would belittle me now and then. It got to the point where my arguments weren't very valid anymore. And it got to the point where I just stopped arguing and just let her be right all the time, because that was easier than just having to get another verbal dispute. But as time continued, the relationship was really difficult, and it got to the point where I just, I guess I just admitted that she started belittling me in bed, and it really hurt. I know a lot of you might have heard of chemical castration, but she was a prime example of verbal castration. When she was in a bad mood and she opened her mouth, she could talk a turtle's head back into its shell and out its ass. It was that bad. And after a while, I just couldn't be physical with her anymore. I just didn't have that physical spark there. It was just more or less gone, but I just wanted to keep working at it, and I thought it was all me. I thought it was something to do with me. I thought I had ED. I thought there were just too many emotional things going on at the time. I was just way too busy and too stressed. I was working a full day job, which that job I worked an average of about 12 hours a day and sometimes 7 days a week. And when I would come home, I would need to make extra money to help support us. So I was doing a lot of commissions and freelance on the side to keep us afloat. And besides that, I was constantly trying to keep her happy because she was always depressed. So I was working at work, working at home, and just working that extra harder just to try to keep her happy. And I was really running myself ragged, but I couldn't see it at the time, and just thought I had to work harder to keep this whole thing together. But there were so many signs to just up and quit the relationship. But again, I loved her, and I thought she was the one. But around this time, I was also starting to drink heavily. Got to the point where I was drinking 18 packs by myself, followed by 3 or 4 24-ounce tall boys. Well, I hear now that they have 25 ounces, but I stopped drinking, so I haven't seen it for myself yet. I haven't really looked, but yeah, I would follow an 18 pack with several more tall boys or a couple of 40s. But as the relationship got worse, I began to drink a lot more. But after a while of being in this sexless relationship, it seemed I just needed my own sexual gratification. So I began viewing hentai being drawn or animated Japanese pornography. And it's something that I enjoyed because it thrilled me on several levels, that being the artistic part of it. I just enjoy the very lush colors and the fine lines that they have in hentai. And there's the pornographic part of it, which who doesn't like porn? Yeah. And it was just something that thrilled me on those levels. And so pretty much if I viewed any porn at all, it was always just drawn or animated pornography. And of course I would view this hentai porn after my girlfriend would fall asleep, just to get my rocks off, because I just couldn't get it up for that woman anymore. Oh man, I should have left a lot sooner. But after a while of viewing hentai and drinking as I did so, I got to thinking that lolicon can't be as bad as she had made it out to be all those years ago. So slowly but surely I started viewing lolicon again, on and off. And the drinking got heavier, and on one particular night, after my girlfriend had fallen asleep, I started viewing hentai and was drinking pretty heavily, and began searching for lolicon. But somewhere during the night I had blacked out and don't remember what happened afterwards, but I would come to, I don't know how long it had been, but I had come to being shaken awake by my ex, just demanding what the fuck I was looking at. I looked over at my computer monitor and seen that she had closed all the browser windows before she had confronted me about what I was viewing. And she expressed that she saw child pornography displayed on my monitor, and I assumed that she was talking about the lolicon that I was viewing before I had passed out or blacked out. But I knew that she saw lolicon and child pornography pretty much as the same thing, so I didn't see any point in arguing the fact. And I was pretty drunk, so I was too inebriated to really express any coherent thoughts vocally. So that is when I revealed to her that I was the former loli artist known as Natus_01, and that's when she pretty much lost her shit. When she found out that I was a loli artist, former loli artist, she began calling me names such as pedophile, child pornographer, and expressed utter amazement as to why I haven't been incarcerated yet or jailed for all my drawings of loli art. And afterwards, our relationship was hanging by a thread. I should note here that throughout our relationship, she would always allude to something that she had done in her past, something awful, but she never let me know what it was. And being the boyfriend that I was, I just never wanted to pry, because I didn't care what she did in her past, because I did love her at the time, and I thought she loved me. Yeah, she on that night, I guess she had revealed to me what she had done all those years ago. I guess her thinking was that if we were to stay together, that we would harbor each other's secrets. But I guess that didn't end up happening, because after we had broken up, she proceeded to tell everyone that I was a quote-unquote pedophile and that I was a child pornographer, and she pretty much called me every other awful name that you could think of. So after a while, after a few weeks, we were officially broken up, and she had moved out. But she would call me periodically just to berate me, call me names, and demand money, all the while letting me know that she had informed the feds that I was viewing child pornography. And as for the money, she demanded about $1,500 a month, which I paid, because she had got me to believe that I had ruined her life and that I should pay for it. And so I began just shelling out $1,500 a month, and she informed me that if I didn't pay her, that she would start telling all my close family and friends of what had transpired, and that I would be left alone, and I would pretty much be disowned by my family and just forgotten by all my friends. And she would continue to tell me that once I was arrested, I would be put in prison for 20 years, and go on to tell me of all the awful things that would happen to me. Not, just she would imply prison rape and possible stabbings or shankings. And alongside that, she told me that I would be subject to things such as chemical castration, electroshock treatment, frontal lobotomy, and besides all this, she told me that I would never be allowed to draw again. And being the artist that I was, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Because not being able to draw, creating art is that's my existence. It's how I've been able to just cope with a lot of things over the years, and it's how I support myself. It's my way of life. Art is my way of life. Be it drawing any sort of illustrations, or making furry art, or drawing glowy art, or just animating something amazing to for people to view and enjoy, and just to support myself. Afterwards, she would tell me that I was probably better off dead, and she started making suggestions for suicide, and she would tell me in elaborate detail of how to go about killing myself. Around this time, my drinking got a lot heavier. I was in a pretty deep depression. I was drinking about 40 plus beers a night, or sometimes 4 liters of wine, or maybe even a bottle of Jägermeister to myself. It was just anything to just block out all this negativity around me, or just blind myself from the shitstorm that I was being surrounded by. And after several months of this heavy drinking and verbal abuse and psychological torture from my ex, I thought she was right. Like all of our disputes or arguments, I thought she was right, that I was better off dead. It was then I resolved that I would kill myself. I wouldn't do it any of the ways that she had suggested. I figured that I would OD on painkillers, because I have been prescribed painkillers for a drunken mishap in a bar after breaking my hand in a drunken incident in a bar. These painkillers were oxycodone, and there were 25 pills in all. I know that because I would lay them out on my desk and count them several nights, on nights that I was pretty drunk. I never OD'd on anything before, but I thought drinking a whole case of beer and then swallowing all 25 capsules wouldn't be that hard, and then follow it with a bunch of Burgundy, and then that night I would just pass out and just never wake up, and wouldn't have to worry about all this anymore. I've already talked about this to several close family and friends, and it gets a little easier, but it's still hard just to go back and think that I was set to do it. I had everything that I needed to make myself OD, and there were several nights that I would just hold all 25 pills in my hand and look at them and just imagine that it wouldn't be that hard just to take them all at one go. It's hard to believe that I was fully and wholly in that mindset, and I did come back from the brink, and I have no plans on going back. I won't go back to those dark days again. While I was in that suicidal mindset and drinking very heavily, I figured that if drawing and viewing Lolicon got me into this much trouble, I figured in for a penny, in for a pound, I might as well download the real thing, right? It's stupid, drunk thinking, I know. But I figured hell, I was going to kill myself anyway, I might as well download the real thing, right? It was then I began downloading underaged young models, underage young nude models via torrent. But after the first few images were downloaded, I couldn't do it anymore, so I stopped the download and deleted all the files, shut down my computer and went to bed. And the next few days I would try to make myself better. It was I just couldn't do it anymore. I thought I wanted to be better and make myself better, so I tried to dry out and try to put it all behind me and make myself better. But again, my ex would call me and call me to demand money again, and then give me more insults and verbal abuse and psychological torture, and it would just start the cycle all over again. And I would start drinking again and just find myself in the same spot I was. But months later, something unexpected happened. I met a girl. She was at the it was for the second gaming company I was working for, which was a lot better than the first one I was previously employed at. And at this second gaming company, I was working again as an animator and designer for video slot machines. And there were a batch of new hires, and among them was this female animator, and she was very nice, very cute, and the sweetest girl I had ever met. And she was an all around wonderful person, and she was a talented artist and a talented animator. Given time, given some little more time and practice, she would be on par with me, and I believe that she would give me a run for my money as far as animation goes. And we shared the same, a lot of the same interests and taste in music, and shared the same type of humor. There were a few times we had a nice little back and forths that were very comedic and humorous. And for the first time in a long time, I laughed like for real, I guess. Sure, in the past, during this whole incident, I would have my bouts of laughter, but I was just really just putting on a face, and people could see it. They've expressed that after this whole thing, I've had a few close friends express that, yeah, it did seem I was trying to hide something, putting up a brave face and whatnot, but with her, I was really laughing, and it felt good. She made me feel a whole lot better about myself, and made me feel that there was possibly some hope for me. But despite all this, there was no way that I could try to or attempt to approach her being the way I was at the time. And she inspired me to quit everything that was wrong with my life. I quit smoking, I quit drinking, and most of all, I ceased all communication with my ex, and I quit giving her money. And pretty much began to turn my whole life around and actually see like a good result from it. And this time I was going to stick to it. And she was a shining beacon of hope and the darkness that I was living in for all those many months. A few days to maybe a week after I had purged myself of all of these things, smoking, drinking, the downloads, my ex, I was arrested for the images I had downloaded in torrent, because at the time there was a torrent sting operation being led by the feds, and they picked me up, and I confessed to the images that I had downloaded. But after my arrest, and after talking to the investigators and arresting officers, they had informed me that in fact my drawings, my lowly art drawings as Natus_01 would never have gotten me in trouble, because there were no victims involved, and therefore they weren't illegal. As one of them put it, they could care less about the drawings. And all I could think, when I first heard this, all I could think that is that they couldn't be right. My ex wouldn't put me through so much shit and so much hell for nothing. But after a while, I'd come to the realization that she was wrong, and the whole time I was right, that my drawings never would have gotten me in trouble. And knowing that fact, it was like a whole weight was lifted off my chest. This burden that had been gnawing at me this whole time was gone. And at that moment, yeah, I did look at the bottle of pills. I held them in my hand, thinking that I could still do it, if I saw fit, but just knowing that I was right just filled me with this, I guess, new hope, new lightness or whatnot. I looked at the pills and just figured, might as well see how this plays out. And I just tossed them in the trash. And slowly but surely, stayed on my path to recovery. But yeah, I did download several nude images of underage girls, and I'm not proud of that fact, but at least the amount that was downloaded was on the very low end of the spectrum, so I was given a pretty light sentence, and I plan to go ahead and do my time and pay for the mistakes that I made. But after that, I'm going to just keep moving forward. Yeah, I'm never going to fall victim to what other people might say about my art or the legality of it, because I know that they're wrong, and whatever they have to say, I'm not going to let it get to me. Never again. Not like it did my ex. I've already let my mind be controlled by someone else, and let someone else's misconceptions guide me down a spiral of self-destruction, and I won't ever let that happen again. And speaking of my ex, I may as well reveal what she had told me that night, that I told her that I was Natus_01, since she went ahead and pretty much told everyone that we know that I was a pedophile and child pornographer and an awful person and a monster, all these awful things. So here it goes. I knew right off the bat. Well, hold on, I gotta take a leak first.